Hey guys, welcome back to Deepak's Daily Reading, and today we're going to be talking about boundless parenting tools, tactics, and habits of great parents. So let's get into it. So time management efficiency is massively important. So fundamentally, when you bring children into your world, all of the elements of efficiency that you maybe practiced prior to having children are going to become significantly more important, because you want to ultimately create leverage through understanding what's important to work upon, and then also looking at how you can optimize every single moment of your time. So that's where your environment becomes powerful. That's where keyboard shortcuts on your laptop become more powerful. That's where you, in terms of optimizing, want to become as effective as possible. And to that degree, when it comes to time efficiency, reading about parenting as much as you can, I think, is really important. So I've got a book called 4,000 Weeks. So that's something that's recommended by Ben Greenfield. I've also got a couple of other books called Free to Learn, The Sports Gene and Range. And then let's continue. Exercising much less to focus on wealth creation is something else that's also important. So I think that also is what fundamentally one of the things that the seven ways, I beg your pardon, I'm not being very eloquent today, rather the 7 years to seven-figure system talks about time management efficiency. What is the most important thing? Then you should spend the most time on that thing. And then in order to become better at everything that you do, you should read in blocks. So that's where the parenting books come into play. Free to Learn is about, I think, the way that people can learn most effectively. And then I've got Range and The Sports Gene, which I think which are recommended by Ben Greenfield, but I forget the exact reasons as to why. But The Sports Gene is about the principles around the 10,000 hour rule and how nature and nurture come together. And then Range, I don't recall. Anyway, so it's also important. I think this comes from Ben Greenfield, thinking back the subtext of what I've read, because he's done 13 Ironman. I think he's finished on podiums and he's done quite well. But from what I understood, he, to a degree, wishes he hadn't done as many and tried to juggle children with doing all of the Ironmen and going out. He developed lots of time optimization strategies, which is a natural consequence of doing continuous Ironman when you have young children. But I think it's because he had children at 21 years old, so it's quite young to have children. I think maybe it's in line with his Christian teachings. He's very religious and he talks about it a lot in the book. And I think from what I understand now that he's understood different things, he would have probably done it when they were adults, because apparently 75% of the time that you'll spend with your children is done by the time they're 18 years old, which makes sense because of course, how much time you spend with them in the early years. And then if you think about valuing that time, it's quality of time spent together. And then there's a lot of time for wealth creation outside of that, and you can focus in the years preceding that. So I would say up until around 3 years old as a man, you can probably have a massive level of focus. And by then you want to have got to a stage where you've created enough wealth to be able to enjoy spending time with your children instead of being in the pursuit of huge business growth, as an example, because you can return to it when, for example, they get to around 16 years of age, because they want to spend a lot more time with friends as opposed to yourself. So from the age of 3 to 16, we're looking at a 13-year stretch where you want to build in as much time efficiency into business, because you want to have the majority of your time spent with children, because that's the time you'll never get back. Once they become adults, your time will be much more fleeting. And then to that end, if you do have to work, having buffer days or buffer hours when you're finishing something is really important. So what that means is that if you're away speaking at a conference, then why not, before you return to the family home, and this I think relates to also your life with your loved partner or intimate relationships, it's when you're with people, focus. When you're not with people, then get your work done. And if you need to come back, then why not, and you haven't yet got things sorted out, then why not just spend an extra day, an extra 6 hours, an extra couple of hours focusing, so that when you come back, you can be truly present. And I think it's about the importance of being present. So that's that part there. And then I like this, of course, the more you read, the better you can recommend, and the better you can recommend, the better results people will get around you based upon specific challenges that they have. And therefore that's why it's powerful to read books, because don't be naive in thinking that you can give someone 5 minutes of advice that's going to create the emotional change in them that's required to take them to the next level. People like to give pithy statements that sound good, like a quote, but really, if you want to instill change in others, you need to create emotional impact. And you can, to a degree, create some level of emotional impact through a saying, but the more you read, the better you can recommend books that entrepreneurs, or I say entrepreneurs, the more that you can recommend books that others can read, and therefore as a consequence develop. So yeah, I think that's really important. And the next thing is that you don't need to make every moment count, but you need to try and make every moment memorable. And the way that you can do this is by building favored and strong family routines, like egg and waffles Sunday, movie night Wednesday, discussion day Thursday, skateboarding Saturday, and creating rituals. And there's this book that's recommended by Benjamin Greenfield? Ben Greenfield? I forget now, sorry. Ben Greenfield, about the power of family ritual. This book isn't available on Audible, but I'm going to watch a couple of YouTube videos about rituals and traditions. So I think that's really powerful, thinking about family traditions rather than individual moments. And that's again about repetition creating emotional change. Therefore, how does repetition of time create emotional change and lasting memory with your children? And that's where rituals and having i.e. consistent favorable routines that you share with children are the things that will be remembered as they get older. We always used to do discussion day Friday, skateboarding Saturday, etc. So that's that. And then, you know what, I'll stop it there and we'll continue with this one later. But yeah, really, really good learnings from Boundless Parenting.
Hey guys, it's Deepak Shukla here. I am huge on listening to books on Audible. So if you're interested in getting all of the insights as I discover them through the course of all the books I read, please do comment, like, and of course subscribe so that you get notified every time we release a video. Thank you so much, and I hope to hear from you soon.